This is our second isometric. We're going to attempt to make this step block, keeping everything in proportion, everything square and true to shape. Remember, an isometric starts with a Y. We're going to try this two different ways. First is a cube, and then we're going to draw individual planes. So I'm going to set this aside. So our first trial with this, we're going to start with our isometric. And again, remember, we start with a Y, keeping in mind that this corner in here is 90 degrees. Notice lots of hand and arm movement. And I'm just tracing over lines, moving my hand around so I can create a cube. What I'm attempting to do here is draw very lightly so that when it comes time to erase, we can erase the things that we need to get rid of so that our isometric looks good. So here's our cube. I'm going to bring my block back. Notice that our top is two rectangles, our front side is an L, and our right side is another two rectangles. So keeping that in mind, our top has to be two rectangles. There's my two. My right side has to be two rectangles. And then the hard part is the L. So this is going to come straight down. The idea here is not to start and go from here to here and connect the dots. The idea is to go from a known point and work back towards an unknown point. So we don't know where on this line this has to be, so we're going to make a line going this way. Again, parallel with this, because everything has to be in scale and proportion. We end up with that L. And you can see if I just start darkening stuff in, make that, I can start seeing this block. And we'd spend some time erasing what we don't need. So there's one method to start with a cube. The other method, I'm going to take this same cube, except in this case, we started with our Y way up at the top where there was no corner. This time I'm going to start with my Y down where my index finger is. So I'm going to come in here like this. I'm going to start with my Y, keeping in mind scale and proportion is important. Again, lots of hand movement before I draw. So I'm going to start with a rectangle. There's my first rectangle. I'm going to work my way back. Here's my Y. Start with another plane. There's my first step. I know that this has to go straight up and down or away from my belly button. Again, has to be parallel. Notice lots of hand movement, muscle memory, trying to trace. Hand movement trace to create the very top of my cube. Making more hand motions to make sure I'm parallel here. Straight down to my belly button to get the vertical. And back like this. So there's two different methods to make this. First, we can start with a cube and whittle away what we don't need. And the second method is to just do it by the plane. Both have their advantages, both are just as fast, and you end up with the same result. Good luck.